Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am here to review and talk about Resident Evil. I will be watching and reviewing all of these movies in the series. Resident Evil is a 2002 film that was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, and it is based on the video game series with the same name, a game that I have played here and there. Some of the games I have played, they're fun, they're cool, but I'm not this huge fan of them. Like, I'm not an expert, I don't know every single thing about them. But the plot of the movie is we see Alice, who is played by Milla Jovovich, and she wakes up in this mansion. She doesn't know who she is or how she got there. She has amnesia. And then this task force group breaks in, and they're there to figure out what's going on. There was some outbreak that went on in this underground facility known as Hive, and a bunch of workers were trapped down there because of this T virus that got leaked and exposed. So this group have to go in there, figure out exactly what was going on, and once they realize that it's an oncoming zombie apocalypse, they have to figure out a way to get out of this facility alive. Now, what I think of Resident Evil is, I really like this movie. I do. I know that a lot of people will talk about video game based movies and they shit on them. And for the most part, for good reason. A lot of them have not worked. A lot of them have not been good and just seems really lazy put together by people who probably weren't fans of the games or even played the games. But this is one of the few that I think gets lost over, whether it's because of the sequels and how crazy they get. People forget about this very first movie. I think this film has a lot of interesting and good things about it. At the very beginning, when you see the workers in this underground area and the chaos starts and the security system is not malfunctioning, but it's locking them in there in order to keep whatever was exposed from getting out, and they all die. Like, you watch these characters and they're just dying, and it's sick to watch. And then when we meet Alice, played by Milla Jovovich, like I said, Alice is an interesting character because she does not have her memory. She does not know who she is or her name. And she starts to get flashes throughout the movie of some memories and some stuff that she even worked for the Umbrella Corporation that this is all about. And I love that even she starts to question whether or not she was a good person, whether or not she might have been the cause of some of this, or whether she deceived some of the characters that's in this group and just doesn't remember it. I like that. It's very Jason Bourne-like, or any other movie that deals with this type of stuff, but I think it's been her most interesting. You see her at her most vulnerable in this whole series. Alice is very vulnerable at the beginning, and I love the moments where she almost muscle memory remembers that she is a badass. Scenes where she just remembers to do these high flying kicks and jumping off the walls, and then she stops and goes, what the hell? How did I do that? We have Colin Solomon as the task force leader, and I really like this actor. He comes in as a commander. You buy him in this role, leader role, and I am always shocked. Spoiler alert! There's so many things about this movie that I can't help but talk about, so you are going to get spoiled throughout this review. That hallway, and I call it the laser room, where those lasers come in and they start wiping out all of the other members of the force group, and Colin Solomon's like jumping up on the ceiling and trying to fight off, and then it turns into squares and there's no fighting it. And he dies, and this is very early on, maybe first 25 minutes or so into the film, and he gets killed, and I was shocked. More so shocked that they would kill the leader of this team this early on, but then that forces Milla Jovovich to become a stronger character and become a leader, so that works. Michelle Rodriguez as Rain. She is a badass. What a surprise, right? Michelle Rodriguez playing a badass. Might be one of the most relatable characters in the film, especially a part of the team. and you really get behind her. She's even on the cover of the movie. That's how much I think Michelle brought to the role and made it so much more than what was probably on the page. What happens to her? She gets bit. Very early on, she gets bit by a zombie, and she's sick and slowly just getting infected throughout the film, and you know she's not going to make it, but it hurts. You don't want her to die. Eric Mabius as Matt, and I like this character. He's somebody who's sort of posing as a cop. You know he has some ulterior motives. He finds out that his sister was in this underground lair. They were trying to find intel to take down the Umbrella Corporation secretly. Really interesting character. James Purfoy plays Spence. And Spence is another guy who has amnesia, doesn't remember what's going on. Him and Mila Jovovich have a special connection, though, and you find out that they both were working for the corporation, but he was more on the bad side, and she was more having a better conscience about it. And I like the moments, especially when he finally remembers who he was and becomes a bad guy. This is what I like about this first movie more so than anything else, is the horror aspect, the horror feel. This movie, more so than any of the Resident Evil movies, has that really scary scenes where it's just creepy and it's building off of noise and tension, and I wish more of the series went in this direction. The Marilyn Manson score is awesome. Like, there's some points where the music is just great, really memorable, high octane feeling, and adds and builds to the action going on in certain scenes. There are moments where you could say that maybe it sounds more like a techno movie or something, or a music video, so maybe not every single song works, but most of it does. I think it's his first time scoring a movie, so I like that. Some of the key things that this movie took from the game, and I think it should make video game fans of this franchise happy, is the look of the mansion. It looks perfect. It looks just like the game. The whole underground facility, all of that I think is great. The Red Queen is the security system that I said killed all the workers down there and is locking this place down to keep the virus from being out. I didn't realize until years later that the Red Queen, it's a play off of Alice in Wonderland, and that's why Mila Jovovich's character is named Alice. It took me a while to figure that out. I know, I'm dumb, but her line where she's like, "You're all going to die down here," and she has that British accent. I like this Red Queen. This T-virus, sometimes I will say that I'd rather not know how the zombie apocalypse gets started, because it's always some experiment that goes wrong by the government, and it's a little cliche, but I like the route that this movie takes it. Because if a zombie apocalypse ever did happen in real life, it probably would be some crazy virus shit like this, especially a corporation who's trying to use it to de-age people and stop cells from dying off. Yeah, that would be how it would happen. Also, this film is one of the first that I can remember that has zombie dogs. Zombie animals was always something that I was fascinated about, just the idea of it, and how come zombie movies don't really touch on that. Why are animals exempt from a virus or from what's going on? This movie, no, it's like they get sick, they're dead, and the scene where the zombie dogs, a bunch of them go after Alice. Love that scene. And lastly, the lickers. The lickers, something from the video game, those creatures that have long tongues and they're really creepy, crawling on the walls and stuff. I think it's cool that they put them in the movie. I even like how they changed the backstory, that they're just mutated people, that the virus just progressed their mutation and now this is what they are. There are moments in the movie where it is CGI'd and it's clear as day it's CGI. It looks like a video game. It doesn't look the greatest. But there are other moments where they have a practical thing, a practical liquor, and it looks awesome. It does. The practical shots of the liquor, and you see its head and it looks scary and big. Those moments still look great. I wish that we were able to stick with more practical stuff. The ending of this movie is one of the best endings to a horror movie ever, really, right? You have Matt and Alice after Michelle Rodriguez dies, which is very upsetting, very disheartening when they have to shoot her. But when the guys in the white suits come in and they take Matt away and they take Alice, and she wakes up in that experimenting room and you don't know what they did to her. She walks out of the facility and the whole city is trashed and destroyed, and clearly the virus has been let out. And it's just a great way to end a movie like this. It's a great way to go into the next film, if they were even planning on doing a sequel. They probably were, though. Great ending. I really enjoy the first Resident Evil film. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Resident Evil 1? Do you like it? Do you think it's one of the best video game movies ever? Does it get lost? Or do you think it just sucks? You don't like the series? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!
Please won't you save my desires on fire? Sometimes you need a little peace at home. On fire, so wired. Come follow me and I can lose you. Come follow me and take a trip to the dark side, waiting for the perfect moment that I put it in ya.